Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. This is the first episode in a running video series I wanted to do all about technology you might find in your day-to-day life, whether it be here in your home or on the road, at work, whatever. This is stuff that you might touch and feel on a daily basis. Not really business level applications or business level hardware, but things you might want to play with as either a geek or stuff to make your first smart home. Now, for me personally, I've been doing a few projects around the house over the last year, including a recessed lighting one I'm kicking off actually this weekend to use Philips Hue lights and do some other fun stuff. But I've also encountered a lot of hurdles and found some tips and tricks that finally did help me get where I wanted to be, but it wasn't always the easiest to find. So really my goal here is just to talk about little fun tech projects around your house or in your life, or just toys I come across that might be really fun to play with, but sometimes, and for some of us, including myself, they're not the easiest to get through. So I wanted to use this as a way to kind of just make it easy for everybody so you can just enjoy what we have available to us and not spend hours on end, or if I can help it, or help you, not spend hours on end troubleshooting and trying to find ways to make things work. Now, to this episode, what I really wanted to focus on is actually my journey in learning how to write code. Now, I know that's not necessarily a geek toy, but it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I know other people who struggle with it as well. Back when I was in college, had some miscommunication about what writing code really was, or what computer science was. Now, fast forward till today, and I'm further along in my network career and what I do for a living, and I'm realizing how much understanding code and writing small programs or even larger programs can really help you, not just in your personal life, but in business too. So what I wanted to do is kind of talk today a little bit about how I've been coming along in my learning of Python. It's the language I picked to kind of start off. I struggled with a few others that I tried, couldn't really grasp it. Probably not the code, the language itself that was the problem. It's really more how I learn, and I just hadn't found the right way to learn these things. So I decided to restart myself on this path, and I picked Python because everyone told me it's a pretty human-readable language, pretty easy to work with, and it seemed like a fairly straightforward one to get into. Now, I tried a few different ebooks and other books that I purchased. I talked to a few trainers. Nothing was really working for me in the last month or two until I came across this app called Pi for iOS, just Py, and it has a whole bunch of programming languages in it you can learn, including JavaScript and even Swift. I decided again to start with Python because it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and for stuff that I do at work, using integrating with a lot of REST APIs, this seemed to be a really easy one to get started with. Now, I'll show you a quick video here in a couple moments of the app and what it looks like and how it lays out, but I downloaded it for iOS, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll talk a little bit more after that video is done. All right, let's go ahead and launch the Pi app. Now, this is for iOS. I'll have some notes down below after the show is aired that show what other platforms the application runs on. But I have an iPhone, so I'm using it on iOS. Now, it's a freemium app, so once you download it, you can use it completely free until you want to get to some of the more advanced content. And I haven't reached that point just yet, but so far it's been pretty rad. Now, I passed already the sort of intro screen where it will say get started, and it'll ask you a couple questions about what your goals are for this application, and it'll suggest some programming languages you might be interested in. That said, you can always click a little link that says let's learn something else, and you can pick and choose whatever it is you want to start off with. In my case, I picked Python, so here we are. Now you'll notice that it's laid out pretty straightforward with some simple tiles that talk about different concepts like printing and numbers. Further down we'll have booleans. So if you're familiar at all with any other programming language, this should be pretty comfortable for you already. It'll list out a series of challenges it'll go through as well. And within each section you'll also have some learning labs or learning lessons to kind of keep you up. Now as I move further down, you'll notice that there's a section called Unlock Premium Content. I mentioned this is kind of a freemium app, so you can download it for free, and then if you want to play with the advanced content in there, I haven't done this yet, but if you do, you can always pay for that app as well. So if I go back to the top, let me click on printing for the time being, and what you'll notice is the text is very simple and straightforward. You'll also notice that it's very short. So each of the things you're going to learn in here comes to you in a very short snippet, just like this one does. So you can focus on a very specific concept as you're taking it in, especially if you're in the early learning stages of this and you're not quite comfortable with what you're talking about. This is a great way to kind of focus, in my opinion. Now, you'll also notice there's some drag and drop functionality from these little tiles. all the interactions you're going to have are with this simple little drag and drop where you place something in and hit run. It'll tell you either there's a problem because this is not what was intended, or if you put in the right thing, it'll complete the program as expected. And for me, this has made it real simple because you can focus on very specific lessons that you want to play with and learn them one by one by one. As I mentioned, you can also go into this library and add any number of additional programs you want to learn, such as Swift, C++, Haskell, SQL, and on and on. So there's not the world's largest book of content here, but it's definitely a really great way to get involved with programming and learning to code, especially if you're not super comfortable with it. Awesome. So I hope you like that. The app is pretty easily laid out. It goes through a series of challenges. It covers each concept in the language pretty simply with a couple little challenge questions and almost like a little test at the end, but nothing super complex. And for me personally, when I don't understand something, especially when it comes to technology, I really have to step back to the base, and this app has actually helped me do that a lot. So if you're a moderate programmer or you're kind of a hack your way through sort of person, this may not be the right tool for you. But for somebody like me who I don't understand the structures or the concepts, or even how things lay out physically in a stream of code, this was actually really helpful for me to get my head around every little concept. Then I can go back and look at a code or a bot or something somebody has created using Python and get a better idea of what's actually happening in that. I'm not quite far enough along yet to write my own programs, but I'm definitely getting more comfortable and feeling more confident about where I could be going with this. Now, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Again, this is episode 1. Still feeling out the timing, how often I'll publish it. My preference is to do it every Friday, but I'm still not quite sure what time of day it's going to be on. So look for these every Friday on YouTube. I'll put some information in the comment section below, as well as on my website, bullseyebrewco.com. So feel free to check that out as well. I really hope you enjoyed it. Definitely give us feedback, or give me feedback, sorry. Give me feedback whenever you have time. Either thumb up or thumb down if you don't like something, but let me know. Jeff@bullseyebrewco.com. Just reach out to me. Let me know anytime you want to. If you have some input you want to give, maybe topics for a future show, I'd love to hear it. I can't wait to meet with you guys more often, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.